Hello, I'm Dongsu Zhang from 3D Vision Lab, Seoul National University. I'll present our work, 3D shape generation with generative cellular automata. This project is a joint work with Changwon Choi, Jung-hwan Kim, and Professor Youngmin Kim. Our method can be used for probabilistic shape completion or shape generation. Given a partial shape, probabilistic shape completion aims to produce diverse outcomes that complete the rest of the shape. This is a video of our model completing a different chair for each trial. Our method is formulated in a progressive way such that the current shape grows towards a complete shape. Secondly, our approach can tackle the problem of shape generation, which aims to generate shapes without any partial input. The following video shows our model starting from a single point and generating shapes of the learned distribution. If we represent a 3D shape with voxels, 3D generation can be formulated similar to image-based generative modeling by replacing 2D pixels into 3D voxels as investigated in the previous approaches. However, these approaches suffer from blurry or low-resolution shapes due to cubic increase in computation. In this work, we overcome these limitations by exploring two properties of 3D shapes. The first property is the sparsity of the 3D shape in voxel space. The percentage of occupied voxel decreases as the resolution of the voxel increases. Such property indicates that we can represent high-resolution shapes efficiently if we only focus on the occupied voxels. The second property that we utilize is the connectivity of 3D shapes. Because most of 3D shapes around us have connected structure, shape generation can be efficiently computed by growing from the current shape. Now, I'll explain the method of our model named Generative Cellular Automata, GCA, which exploits the sparsity and connectivity of 3D shapes. The GCA represents 3D shape as a state S. We utilize the sparsity and only keep the surface of occupied cells as an efficient representation. Then, given an incomplete state as 0, we sample from the learned transition kernel p theta using the neural network. Applying the transition kernel t times results in a final shape. For each cell in the intermediate state, we compute the occupancy probability of corresponding neighborhood cells, which is the local update rules of cellular automata. Then, we aggregate the probabilities, inferring the probability of neighborhood state from which we sample the next state. GCA is able to produce the whole shape with only local transitions by exploring the connectivity of 3D shapes. Next, I'll explain the training procedure of GCA. GCA trains by sampling from the learned transition kernel and infusing the ground truth shape X. We denote the sequence as S tilde and call S0 to ST infusion chain. Specifically, the distribution of infusion chain is defined as the mixture of transition kernel and ground truth. Using the previous figure, the ground truth X is infused after computing the whole neighborhood occupancy probability. After infusing, the network is trained to maximize the negative low likelihood towards the closest form of the ground truth. In the full manuscript, the infusion chain is proven to converge to the ground truth data X. For that, we assume that at some time step t, s tilde t and x are partially connected. The assumption states that at some state s tilde t, we can reach x in a finite time with neighborhood size. The premise usually stands since everyday objects tend to be fully connected. Then, the following proposition shows that infusion chain converges to the true data X. Next, I'll show the experiments conducted on our model. First, we compare our model against state-of-the-art models in probabilistic shape completion tested in PartNet dataset. From left to right, the images indicate input point cloud, GCA, and conditional GANs results. GCA is able to generate multi-modal, high-fidelity shapes compared to the results of conditional GANs. We also evaluate the metrics quantitatively. We measure the quality MMD, diversity TMD, and fidelity UHD. The results show that our method outperforms the baselines on average. We also trained GCA on multiple classes and tested completion results shown in the video. Note that training was only done on single instance shapes. Due to the usage of sparse convolution, our model is translation invariant and is able to compute distant multiple objects. We also tested our model on generating shapes of ShapeNet objects. GCA is able to generate diverse and high fidelity shapes. Also, the distributional similarity 1 NNA, diversity, coverage, quality MMD shows that our method is competitive to the state-of-the-art methods. As previously mentioned, we keep the search space small by exploiting sparsity and connectivity of 3D shapes. The graph shows the occupancy of voxels in different time steps during shape generation. The solid line indicates the percentage of occupied voxels. GCA keeps at most 2% of the full voxel space. The dotted line indicates the percentage of neighborhood occupancies. GCA observes at most 6% of the full voxel space on average. We also show that our method is able to generate disconnected shapes. The following video shows GCA completing a lamp with only shade of lamp given. Our method is able to generate the head of the lamp, which is further than the neighborhood distance, indicating that our method can complete disconnected shapes. To conclude, we present GCA, which is able to generate diverse and high fidelity shapes. We are the first to practically use cellular automata for generating 3D shapes, exploiting sparsity and connectivity of 3D shapes. GCA is able to generate near state-of-the-art performance in probabilistic shape completion and shape generation. Lastly, I'll present the future work directions. First, one can extend our method to generating infinite resolution shapes. Although our method operates on high resolution voxel space, the method is still limited to voxel resolution. Implicit functions are representations for 3D shape that are not restricted to any resolution. Using a combination of sparse voxels, an implicit function can extend our work to generating infinite resolution 3D shapes. Secondly, we believe the work can be used also for fluid simulation. In fluid simulation, the particles are restricted to moving to the neighbor of the current state, which is similar to cellular automata. Modeling the occupied voxels as particles will present an interesting direction for future research. Lastly, we also think that our model can be used for explaining the dynamics of nanoparticles. We heard that explaining how the nanoparticles grow is complicated. Since GCA models how the voxels grow, we think this direction can be interesting as well. Thanks for listening. For more information, please check out our paper available in the archive.